Welcome back to the deep dive. We often spend our time analyzing the mechanics of future systems, how hyper-efficient cities function, or how resources are managed.
The nuts and bolts of it all.
Exactly. But for our deep dive today, we're shifting from the mechanics to the moral. We're asking a much more fundamental question. What defines human purpose when the entire system no longer relies on the pressure of a financial incentive?
It's really the ultimate human question, isn't it? And our sources today, they're analyzing this theoretical scenario, a proposed system of sustainable abundance.
Right.
This is a place where that basic struggle for survival is just handled. Society moves several levels up on Maslow's hierarchy. And I think what you, the listener, really want to know is, does this lead to widespread idleness, or does abundance actually unleash something new?
Well, the default skepticism is always the same, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
If you take away the need to earn money, people will just, what? What? Retreat into endless indulgence, become lazy, lose their identity.
Yeah, that's the counter-argument. And it is a genuine risk. The source is very clear on that. You can't expect 100% participation.
Of course not.
But if you look at human history, we have always innovated and built, even when basic needs were a daily struggle. The argument here is that abundance removes the negative incentives like fear of poverty or just pure greed, and it allows the inherently positive, the innate human motivations to finally take the wheel.
Okay, let's unpack this. If the market isn't demanding production and consumerism can't really satisfy us anymore, what truly powers us? What's the new engine of purpose?
The sources outline these four fundamental motivations, four pillars they call them, and they've been with us since the dawn of civilization, just waiting for the space to flourish when that financial stress is gone.
So what's the first one?
Pillar one is the materialization drive. It's this intense impulse to take an idea, something from your inside world, a vision, a thought, and give it a physical shared form.
So not just art in the traditional sense. It's the fundamental creative act of bringing something into existence.
Exactly. It could be inventing a tool, writing an algorithm, painting a mural. It's about manifesting inner reality. The second pillar is the drive for personal growth through friction.
Through friction.
Yeah. The need to face and overcome new challenges. We inherently seek out complexity, not for a reward, but because solving the problem, it fundamentally changes and improves us.
Right. And the third?
The third is that desire for discovery and exploration, that innate curiosity to find new horizons, find answers to life's big mysteries. It's the scientific pursuit, geographical exploration, just the wonder of the unknown.
And the fourth pillar, I think this one is maybe the most critical for the kind of society the source is talking about.
I agree. It's the fundamental need to contribute and leave a respectable legacy to society. These four drivers, materialization, growth, discovery, and legacy, you just can't satisfy them by buying more stuff.
Okay, here's my challenge, though. We have those drives today, but we also have widespread apathy. So how does this future society ensure that people actually engage? I mean, if I could just play video games all day, what stops me?
And that's the crucial element. The sources stress that the social environment has to be deliberately engineered to support these drives. It isn't automatic. In our world, status is often gained by hoarding resources, right?
Sure.
In this proposed future, status and respect are gained only through your contribution, through the quality of your legacy. The entire social feedback loop changes. You're chasing fulfillment and social standing, not a quarterly bonus.
So you're shifting from just surviving to performing an act of self-actualization that benefits everyone.
Precisely. And that pursuit of leaving something worthwhile behind is the perfect bridge to the most critical function of an abundant society, education.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. Let's look at what people actually do with their time, and it starts with a complete revitalization of learning. The sources propose a dual teaching model.
Yes. Learning new skills is always accessible, but it's formalized through two very distinct types of guides. First, you have the professional educators. They focus on pedagogy, the theory, the structured exercises for children. They're the generalists who help young people navigate their initial development.
But then once a young person shows an interest or a real potential in a field, they shift to a much more, an ancient model. The practitioner.
That's it, the masters of the craft. People with years of proven, hands-on experience, whether that's in surgical robotics or writing symphonies. The relationship becomes a true apprenticeship.
And these lessons aren't happening in some sterile classroom.
No, not at all. They happen directly in the practitioner's dedicated workspace. The student is completely immersed in the reality of the work. They're introduced to the day-to-day tasks, the responsibilities, the unique techniques. They become a part of the creative process.
That model just fundamentally changes the cost-benefit analysis for a young person. They're testing the reality of the field, not just chasing a degree. The master weaver is teaching in his own studio. Maybe the student's first task is sweeping the floor and learning the discipline.
It creates a much more rigorous selection process. The student can truly decide if this is the life they want before committing years to it. And for the practitioner, imparting that knowledge to a curious mind, that's deeply fulfilling. It satisfies that legacy pillar we talked about.
Okay, so shifting from education to science and technology, the sources confirm that all branches of science would be pursued in these state-of-the-art research centers.
And the huge benefit here is freedom. Scientists have the best equipment and they are completely unburdened by financial constraints or, fighting for grants. Research becomes focused purely on the problem itself.
Imagine the leaps we could make.
Right, and hand in hand with pure science, you have the essential role of the technical custodians. Our abundance, the food, the clean water, the shelter, it all relies on these complex automated systems.
The guardians of the infrastructure.
Exactly. These technical experts are crucial. They're inventing new technology, upgrading old systems, writing the code to keep everything running efficiently and safely.
And they're the first responders. Because even with self-diagnosing machines, you need a plan B. You need human experts who can find the failure, fix it, and make sure it never happens again.
It's a massive responsibility, but the source points out that this inherent desire to be useful, to be essential, that's a really powerful motivation for technically minded people.
So if those individuals are maintaining our current abundance, the source then suggests that the ultimate challenge for future generations will be applying that precision to ourselves, to our own biology. The bold endeavor of transhumanism.
This is the ultimate philosophical frontier. The source sees this as the next major leap, and it would require massive international collaboration. The goal is achieving the synthesis of organic life and synthetic matter, mostly through nanotechnology.
And this is far beyond just replacing a lost limb. We're talking about enhancing the human experience, aiding regeneration, elevating strength, dramatically improving cognitive function.
And that leads to the ultimate concept the sources discuss: the ability to upload your consciousness to a new organic or mechanical body.
That's always been the stuff of science fiction. But the sources make a really strong claim about where we are with that now.
They do. They observe that this has moved from speculative fiction into the realm of serious global scientific research. The question has fundamentally shifted from if it's possible to how do we make it happen safely? It ties directly back to that desire to grow, to evolve, to transcend our current notion of what it means to be human.
To become more than what we were before.
Exactly. Now, to balance all of that very scientific, very technical pursuit, the sources also put a deep emphasis on non-scientific creativity. So arts, sports, spirituality.
This is where that first pillar, externalizing your inner world, really shines. We're talking music, cinema, literature, painting, but also things like martial arts, fitness, yoga, meditation.
Right. These activities draw inspiration from the interaction between our inner world and our external reality. They stimulate creative energy, they test our limits, they help us express the truth inside. They're just profound pathways to personal growth.
And crucially, when that expression is shared, like a perfect meal, a martial arts class, or a novel, it invites other people into that journey. It fulfills that contribution need in a deeply personal, non-material way.
It transforms the consumption of art into an act of shared growth.
So if we step back and look at daily life, we've covered this vast list of noble causes people can devote their time to. It's a huge menu of productive engagement.
And the critical difference from today is the incentive. These activities are practiced as a celebration of human ingenuity, a triumph of the human mind. They're driven by positive incentives: fulfillment, legacy, discovery, not the negative ones like greed or fear.
It's a total paradigm shift.
It's an acknowledgement that we possess this boundless spark, that if you just unleash it, it will naturally choose to build and create.
And what about time management? We're not just replacing the 9-to-5 grind with another 9-to-5 grind, even if it's a passion.
No, the source advocates for an abundance of time itself. Your activity time is determined individually, based on your own peaks of creativity. If your best thinking happens at midnight, that's when you work. Society stops fighting our natural rhythms.
Which means the rest of your time is for balance.
Absolutely essential balance. Family, hobbies, travel, entertainment. All of it is necessary to recharge our energy. It guarantees a much more fulfilling, exciting, and healthier life overall.
This entire vision it's a profound societal elevation. But the sources are not blindly optimistic. They give a really serious warning, a moral prerequisite for any of this to actually succeed.
This is the heaviest part of the sources because it's the real bottleneck.
Huh.
It stresses that it is absolutely essential to keep our morality in check. We have to deeply understand and accept the importance of interrelation, of diversity, and constantly help each other for the betterment of all.
But why is that so critical now, when abundance should theoretically solve most conflicts?
Because the stakes are higher than ever. If we carry our current prejudices and fears into this abundant future, where we also have these godlike technologies like transhumanism, we risk starting a new cycle of structural violence.
So abundance without wisdom is just a more powerful weapon.
That's it, exactly. We don't just risk idleness, we risk empowering ancient cycles of chaos and destruction on a global scale. But with advanced tech, the source is stark. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to ensure that we are worthy of this metamorphosis.
Abundance could become the perfect fuel for misery.
Unless we master our collective morality first.
That moral preparation is a sobering thought to end on, especially when you consider the depth of motivation the source has uncovered. That purpose is inherent, not manufactured by finance. The human drive to contribute is just waiting for the chance to express itself.
That potential is clearly there.
So if we look at the pace of progress today, specifically with things like nanotechnology and cognitive enhancement, it feels like we've achieved abundance in capability far sooner than we've achieved abundance in wisdom. Given that the transition from if to how for redefining humanity is already happening, what specific non-technical steps in education and our own personal example must we focus on today to ensure that when we gain this power, we avoid that cycle of chaos the source warns against? What does being worthy look like in practice right now? That is the question you need to grapple with.
The future defined by the quality of our character, not the capacity of our machines.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into legacy, purpose, and the ultimate measure of human worth. We encourage you to explore these concepts of non-financial motivation further. We'll see you next time.